So, yeah, one of the first things that I want to get into here is the military standpoint, just metals and stuff like that. So, the one that I want to go over first is I usually do a metal per, and this time I want to do a ribbon, one that has a ribbon only. And there's not many of those. And when I give my 2 cents of it, it is from a Marine Corps standpoint because of my background. Now, I don't I don't know a whole bunch about the other branches, individual metals, but there are some that are they're universal. This one is not, and I will also tell you I do have this one. So, all right, and this is the one that I do have, and I do have a funny story about this one that does include Arlie Ermy, and yeah, this one is the Battle E, and I'll just let it hover up here.
Rumors spreading around in that Texas town about the shack outside the game. You know what I'm talking about. Just let me know if you wanna go to that home out on the range. They got a lot of nice girls. I'm racing.
Really cool thing about this, a petty officer had designed this. It used to be if I'm not mistaken, it used to be a patch, if I'm not mistaken, in the 70s, and it got changed over to this. So, um, basically, what it is a contest with the Navy and within between ships, and it stands for Battle Efficiency. So it's the Naval Battle Efficiency Award, and it is offered only in a ribbon. So it does have the Navy's colors with the navy blue and gold, and of course the white with the E, which I think was a 3/16 inch E that goes on there. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you could have as many as four on here with the big E, meaning five, and like everything else with the bronze stars to gold stars. Um, so, or the gold stars to silver stars. So yeah, this one, it you can get several awards on this, and they build up. And to me, I got mine, which, if you look at it, Mew Marines cannot get them, but when you're in avionics, you get assigned to the ship. So it's combat cargo, Marine combat cargo, and the AIMD division of aviation Marines or avionics Marines are assigned to the ship. So that's why we were able to get it. So the beginning of Afghanistan in 2001 to 2002, we had won the award for battle efficiency. So it was really cool that I had a couple people, and of course, it's the usual Marine Corps bullshit where they're like, "No, it's a Navy award. We don't wear it," and it's just like, no, they wouldn't have got it without us. So it's like, anyway, so what I did, I had to talk to the petty officer that was my boss at the time, chief petty officer, that was the chief, as a sergeant. He said, look, he had to go look it up and go find the all nav, if I'm not mistaken. Then it came out and basically say that the ship belonged to it, give it to me, and I had to put it into my record book. So he told me, no, don't do it. I'll do it. Don't worry. I got you. You work for me. And I was like, okay. And he hooked it up like a fucking boss. 7 days later, it was in my record book. I was like, God dang, man. That's fucking badass. And he said, hey, look, don't worry about it. And he even said it was cool. He was, he looked at me and goes, I'll do you up. Don't worry about it. So it was like really cool. We had a really cool understanding, me and that guy. So, anyway, yeah. So this actually brought me to another thing. So I don't really like bitching and complaining about metals and stuff like that and getting stuff right in movies and shit. And there's a reason why. It's because they can't. Impersonating officers, I mean, we all take that very seriously, and we all understand that they're just actors. But at the same time, There's a certain respect that goes to all the devices and shit that our armed forces wear. So, like other things, there's a lot of other things. It's not just the Marine Corps. It's not just Navy and a Battle E. It's like cavalry in the Army and their Stetson. It that is it's very very tried and true. So many things. The French Fortiget with the Marine Corps and the I think I'm not sure, but there are other branches that also have certain things. The berets, even though I poke phone them, yeah, I still find a deep respect in where they came from. So the first sergeant in the Air Force being a shirt and the reason behind that, and the shirt that he wears for that. So there's a lot of really cool shit that comes out of the devices that we wear. So one of the reasons that this it didn't strike a nerve, we just thought it was funny, is that um, the way that a lot of movies just do not do research. Some do, some don't, and most of them don't. So this is one of them that really, really kind of just, it didn't chap my ass, but it kind of brought me to the front of maybe me to look into this. But this is this one, and of course it's Maverick. Everybody loves Maverick. Right? Great movie. Anyway, if you look real close to this picture, that on the right side of it, okay, over here on him, you could see where he has a Okay, I'm gonna get right back into this. I had a couple of little difficulties in redoing this, and if you haven't noticed, the border on my sign has turned red for some fucking reason. So add it to the list of shit I'm gonna do today. So anyway, I'll bring up good old Maverick's rack here, and I'll bring them filleted so that way they're different. So here's rack one, and it's not here. Nope, here it is. Cool. So first thing here that you see is his naval aviator wings, which is right here, gold up at the top. I mean, I have to look at the picture again. I don't know why it's not going down the crease line, but it's probably for some fucking stupid reason. Just why I even noticed that is a fucking long story. The first medal here is, and this was definitely medal. It's his most senior one. The highest ranking one is a Silver Star. Very prestigious medal. You don't see it often at all. Very, very rare. In fact, the only one I saw was a young Lance Corporal, believe it or not, in a military clothing store when I was buying medals in Pendleton. And he picked it off the rack like he was getting his uniform ready for the ball. So it was like around late October, so he's getting his medals ready. And I'm just staring at it like, whoa, that's... And then he stops, he goes, "You don't think I rated, do you?" And I'm like, "How dare you, sir?" And I was like... No. I was like, no, that's not what I was looking at. That's very prestigious. And he goes, "I rate it." And I was like, okay. And it was, I guess he did something in Iraq that was absolutely stellar, and he got it. So he was like, "Yeah, you wouldn't believe it. A lot of people ask me." And he goes, "Especially staff NCOs ask me if I really rate that. It's really embarrassing." And I was like, "I can imagine it would be, man." I didn't say man, of course. So I shook his hand and said, "Hey, congratulations." So anyway, very prestigious medal. Next one right here is the Legion of Merit. It's red and white, and it just has very little traces of white on the corner ends. But that one, I have to look into it. I know it's I see a lot of upper staff officer, no, staff NCOs in the Army that have this. Not too many officers, from what I've seen. But it's quantitatively, from what I've seen, a enlisted ribbon, medal, excuse me, given to, mostly Army. I've seen a couple Marines that had it, but it's been nowhere close to the amount of Army that have it. The next one is the military oh shit, I always get this wrong. Defense Meritorious Service Medal, and it's really, really easy to pick out because it has those three stripes. A lot of these medals have their determining attributes that you could pick them out from a long way. But that one is another one of those joint awards that they just give officers for and upper staff for going to some sort of joint exercise, and who knows. It has to do with brass and meetings. Let's put it that way, and a lot of fucking PowerPoint. So yeah, we'll just leave that there. Yeah, whatever. The next one is the Meritorious Service Medal, and that one is obviously an individual medal. So, very prestigious. You see a lot of. This is another one of the Army, mostly, see, I'd say upper enlisted. So, like staff sergeant up, they give this away a lot. So you'll see a lot of license plates with this on it. There's a lot of people have it. And it's like this is also officer candy too, like majors. This is like you've been a good boy. Um, your guys are real good, so we're gonna give you a medal. So type of medal, blah blah blah. Anyway, very prestigious. From what I've seen, as you know, as a Marine, is very prestigious. You don't see hardly anybody with that except their officers. Next one's air medal, and this one right here, and I'll probably do a whole episode on that because that one's very somewhat controversial. That of when it comes down to medals, at least. But yeah, I will definitely talk about that because basically it's so much falls underneath it. So like flight hours, and then combat, and of course he has a device on his, which I think is combat determined. So yeah, next one is the NAVCOM, or the Navy Commendation Medal. This I have one of those. I finally got one of those when the Game were retired. So it's yeah, I'm not saying it's prestigious, but it's definitely it's up there when it comes to for Marines, for enlisted. Excuse me, for peacetime, it's very very high. So that's just basically doing a really really good job. That one is you can get it for anything really. It can be impact or a long amount of time, and I only got one, so I guess it was from my whole career, so I guess it's pretty important. Anyway, the next one is the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, or what we call the NAM. It's just this one right here is a really cool one. You should, I mean, I would say by a metric, you should be getting this by the time you're getting your good conduct or good cookie, because it's basically what it is. This one is corporals. This is a corporal medal, and I call it that because this is if you really want, if your staff and CO wants that Marine to get promoted, what they'll do is they'll give them this, so it'll help them out with their pros and cons to get them promoted. Or a sergeant going for staff sergeant. If you have an award in your reporting period, it really really looks good for boards and stuff like that. So or selection boards and promotion boards. So yeah, it's this right here. It's just a boost medal. It's just to help your career out. And that's the only way I've really seen it used, or just to tell someone they're doing a good job. So there's that. But it's more. We used it more for promotion. Next one is the combat action ribbon. It's one of the first polarized ribbons, and a very high ranking ribbon. So, but the number one thing is it shouldn't be here. And this is the first fallacy of this whole thing that I see. This ribbon is for combat action. It's not from what I've seen ground. So also Navy enlisted. I guess Navy commission could get it as well, but it's not for pilots. Pilots get the air medal, so this should not be here. And once again, it is polarized. It's one of the 4 polarized medals, ribbons and medals that I can think of, because the blue here is on the left side. So it's blue, white, and red. Red being to the inside, blue being to the outside. The next polarized medal ribbon is right next to it. This is the JMAL, Joint Meritorious Unit Award. It has this gold border, very distinctive for what it is. That gold border, the only other time you'll see that is on the KPUC, or the Korean Presidential Unit Citation. That's one that's got the yin yang in the middle of it. Um, this, yeah, and it's polarized because the oak leaves on the border, that gold border, go up. So they'll go like that. So that's how that one is polarized. Um, yeah, that one's just that was one of the first medals I got. I mean, ribbons I got. I got it for being at the presidential unit site. I mean, presidential helicopter squadron in Quantico, Virginia. The next one is the one we already talked about, the Navy Battle Efficiency ribbon, and do have a funny story about that one. That was ran into a several problems with this, with Marines, blah blah blah. We don't wear Navy ribbons, this, that, and the other thing. It's trying to be all macho and shit. And it was like, you look in your record, you do rate it. But I had to do a Toys for Tots event, and it was at the country store on Pendleton. And it was basically, hey, look, there's going to be someone famous there. It's going to be signing shit and, helping the Toys for Tot drive. So they'll come in there and they'll meet him. You give a toy, and then, you give them the toy, and you get to meet the guy, and it should get a big crowd to donate for Toys for Tots. So we had to be in our blues. So we show up there, and we're in our blues, and set up the table and all the barrels for everything for all the Toys for Tots. And here he comes. It's Arlie Army. You're like, oh wow. And I was just, of course he's like the godfather of the Marine Corps, So anyway, yeah, with Chesty being the emperor, don't get mad, but yeah, he's definitely the godfather. So the funny thing about him, he comes in and he's smoking a cigarette right in the store, and someone comes and goes, "Sir, you can't smoke in here." And he just kind of looks at him and just keeps smoking. Like that thug life right there, man. But anyway, so he sits down, blah blah blah, and talking and shit like that. And he's some of the things he'd say was pretty funny. He was talking about kissing Jack Black and saving Silverman, and I remember someone said, hey, about the fifth time, he goes, for the fifth time that someone brought it up about the saving Silverman thing, he goes, all right, you guys, they paid me a lot of money to kiss Jack Black, all right? Because everybody's like, no, 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 our Marine Corps savior did not kiss another man. Yeah, he did. He did it for a lot of money. So, anyway, when it was all said and done, I got to shake his hand and get a picture of it. So, and that, pow, right there. All right, and the story about that was that somebody brought up the whole Battle E thing when he's standing right in front of him. So I'm standing behind Arlie Army, and someone goes, "Hey man, hey Sergeant, you shouldn't be wearing that Battle Efficiency ribbon. We don't wear Navy ribbons." And that's when like Arlie Army kind of looked back at me. He looked at the staff sergeant, I think it was, our Gunny, and he goes, "Hey, leave the good sergeant alone. I have one." I was like, "Wow." Actually getting bailed out like that, and it's not even a bailout. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I rate the damn ribbon. So anyway, the really cool thing about that is that, number one, if he did, he backed me up. Number two, if he didn't, he lied to back me up. So I didn't even look it up to see it was straight. I'd rather believe that he didn't, and that was the kind of the badass he was. So anyway. So yeah, there's the battle efficiency. Next one is the national defense. This is the Firewatch ribbon, as we call it, because if you were just in service during the Desert Shield, Desert Storm, you got it. I think it turned off, started in 90 and turned off in like 94. I don't think it was 95. And I came in 96, so I didn't get it. But anyway, that was that. The third here is the Armed Forces Expedition. It's the third polarized. In the final polarized in this rack, and the four of the four polarized ribbons and medals. And then you can see the blues to the inside on this one instead on the car would be on the outside. So the blues on the inside, reds on the outside. So that's how these two are different. So that's just, this one right here is just a very blanket expeditionary. It's the one that's given like instantly if there's not a campaign already devised. So yeah, you see this one a lot when it comes down to deployments. You see it fast too. So Next one is Southwest Asia, and this is kind of like a good example of the the Armed Forces Expeditionary. Is that the Southwest Asia was given to almost everybody in Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and it was because Kuwait Liberation and the other Kuwait Defense, maybe, I don't know. Those are two very rare in a very short period of time medals, the two Kuwaitis. But excuse me, the Southwest Asia is what they gave in place of that. So a lot of people that did Desert Storm got Southwest Asia. So yeah, there's that. So when you come up to the next operations, these are two operational medals or theater medals. This one is, and just real quick to preface this, is always confusing to think about which way they went and what order they went. You would think the Marine Corps would be like, all right, we're going to put them in out of alphabetical order, and they didn't. They kept it in alphabetical order, which really helps when you're putting these two together. So the first one's Afghanistan, and the second one's Iraq. So these two are Afghanistan and Iraq. So yeah, those are two campaign medals, so they're very distinct. You have to be here to get it, and yeah, it's not blanket like the Expeditionary or the Southwest Asia or the next one coming up. This one is the Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal. So this one, I've gotten this one. You can get this one for either one of these. You can swap these. These three are all swappable. So if you go to Afghanistan, you can get the Afghanistan or the Global War on or the GWADX. And then Iraq, the same thing. But if you have already got the GWADX and you go to Afghanistan, you can get the Afghanistan one. So I got the Afghanistan one for Afghanistan. I got the Iraq one for Iraq. And the third one I got for being deployed to Doha in Qatar, helping out the Air Force with certain things. And so, yeah, I was able to get all three. So, yeah, getting those three was kind of tricky. Yeah, I mean, you definitely had to record 3 deployments. And, yeah, anyway. Next one is a Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, and that's once again like the Firewatch Medal. It's just, if you're in, you get it. Not a hard one. Next one is the Sea Service Deployment, and that is just basically saying this guy deployed. Now, this is the one that doesn't make any fucking sense. Okay, so I understand that he has 3 stars. Okay, he has a GWADX, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Okay, so there's 3. So he should have at least 2 stars on this, because each star is one time every 6 months you deployed. So, or one deployment. So this is wrong. Now, there are certain time frames where you can get the medal and 1 star, but to have 2 stars on both means he went twice, 2 times. I mean, twice each, and then the GWADX. So he deployed at least 5 times if you do the math here. So there should be at least 4 stars on the CSERV deployment. And not to mention, there should be a lot more there. And that's just the way it is. Next one is the NATO. And this is the blue and white one. You could always tell NATO because it looks like this. It's either that light blue or dark blue. And it has several different devices that go on it, but basically the NATO non-Article 5, there's so many things going on with it. It could be, there's a lot of them, and yeah, it's really strange, but I really haven't looked into it. It's just basically you say you got it, you don't, and one was for ISAF, and yeah, anyway. Next one is Kuwaiti Liberation, I think. Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and yeah, it is what it is. And the last 2 here are the Navy shooting medal. So he is an expert with the pistol and the rifle, which I understand the pistol, not so much as the rifle. It's one of those things that maybe that shouldn't be there. I don't know, but yeah, those are the 2 shooting medals. So with this in retrospect to his other medals. We'll go ahead and bring that up here. This is what he had earlier. So I'll get this enlarged. All right, so this is what he had in the first Top Gun in '86. So he still has his Battle E, which is cool. That matches. And now his Navy Expeditionary, which I don't know why they gave him that. That that is, you have to land on the beach. No, you had to step foot in country. So I he was a lieutenant, I think, in the first movie. I really don't think that he earned that, but yeah, the Navy Expeditionary is, I mean, basically, I think it's Seabees are the only one that get that, and obviously SEALs, but or maybe not SEALs, maybe because they're clandestine. They don't really advertise when they go places, but maybe I don't know. But the thing is, he shouldn't have this. I mean, I would say 99.9% sure he shouldn't. Next one he could definitely get. All right, this next one is humanitarian. We call it the bitch slap medal. If you look at it, it's got a hand on it, and it looks like getting about to get pimped. So yeah, but anyway, it's supposed to be reaching out the hand for humanitarian effort. But the ship gets these, the whole ship, from what I remember. If an LHD, LHD, or CBN, they go into whatever port, and they go, okay, yeah, now we're supposed to go paint a school, and we've done that on the way back from Afghanistan. No, what was Afghanistan? There was a flow before that when we were on the Bella Wood. We actually ended up painting a school. And it's like, all right, you anybody want to volunteer to go paint a school? And you're like, yeah, yeah. So we got the humanitarian effort where we helped them out doing something. But also, it's more for like humanitarian aid after like a tidal wave or a monsoon or something like that. And yeah, it's basically you get the humanitarian effort. The humanitarian service medal, and that's right there. And it's really funny. That one has a database. This one in the car have a very, very individually named database. I take it back. Not the whole ship gets it. It is a very specific. It is strange. Not too many of them have a list database of who rates it, but yeah, the humanitarian service does. The last one is sea service, so he has the same amount of deployments he had then. So the weird thing is that the humanitarian service isn't here anymore, and the Naval Expeditionary isn't here anymore. Okay, when you go to make a fucking movie, go back to the other one. I found this by typing Maverick medals or dress whites into Google, and I was able to find exactly what his medals are. So anyway, just research that shit and get it right. So
hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go. Hard work, work. Everybody doing it right. Hard work, work.
Peace out.